Hello, this is James George with episode 7 of Hobbyist to Pro, and we're going to dig right in here on a new effect, which is actually a classic of Magic, and it's one that I'm sure you're going to get some great use out of, and you can add it to your close-up show, stand-up, or even a stage show. And the key with this is, while it seems like a simple trick, it really fools the audience really badly, I find. And also, it packs pretty light. You're not going to have to worry about anything getting broken because it's a rope trick. And it's always a nice thing for a working professional to have props that are reliable. You can count on it to work every time. And you don't have to worry about batteries or any thing breaking down or anything like that with this kind of an effect. And that gives you a lot of confidence, and that's what we want as your foundation, is things that you can stand on that will give you confidence to be a great performer. And hopefully you guys are working on your effects and you're practicing and you're committing to this whole process and carrying through. Not just watching parts of the video, but really studying the whole thing. If you're going to be serious about this being your career, I'm giving away thousands of dollars worth of information absolutely free right here, and you're going to pay a lot of money. I've watched nearly every DVD, I've studied, I've had mentors, I've had great gurus of magic here in India, in America, and all over the world. I've been personally taught by Michael Amar, a whole bunch of different people. Yeah, so, but let's move along here. I want to stay focused on the Professor's Nightmare, and many of you are probably familiar with this already. You can skip ahead if that's the case. There's a lot more great stuff. I'm going to be getting into how to repair an iMicro ITR. It's time we update that. I'm going to be putting all the updates within the course material here because the ITR is such a powerful tool for both close-up, stage magic, and obviously as my company revolves around that, we get a lot of questions on that particular product here, and I want to get all those answered for you guys. So you start with one small rope, and you have a medium rope and a long rope. So you bring those over, and you can show the audience that they're very clearly 3 different lengths. And all you have to do is, if you go back in time to when the ropes were all 3 the same length, you can see kind of time warping and space bending as the ropes. Now you have 1, you have 2, you have 3 equal lengths of rope. Now what's interesting is I can tie these together and you can clearly see that the lengths of rope are exactly the same length. And what's interesting about this is if we're able to travel back to the future, I can show you something very interesting. Now let's jump back to the future in time, and that takes a little bit of concentration. And then what happens is the rope actually goes back to the way it was originally. So very simple rope trick, but it's not so much the trick or the rope or the magic, it's really the presentation you put together that engages the audience, gets them on the stage, gets them laughing and having a great time. And yeah, I do a lot of that, and I have some great music I use and everything in my own stage show with this particular trick. And you'd think, wow, I didn't think you could get that much mileage out of Professor's Nightmare, but yeah, you really can. You can get a lot of great entertainment out of nearly any magic effect, with the storytelling involved and audience participation, comedy. You have a lot of other things that are added into the mix beyond just the magic trick. If you're just up there going through the motions of a magic trick, sadly you're gonna bore the audience to tears, and they're not going to have a lot of fun, and they're not going to be calling you back for future shows. So you want to be focused on how, you want to put together a show that makes the people that hired you look good. We talked about that before. So how do you do this? Well, you want your hand so that it comes down. You want to think about this little rope, and if you were to fold it into thirds like this, so that kind of gives you an idea of the distance that you need to come down, because you want this half loop to fall in the middle of your palm. So when you're bringing that over, it should be like that. So it's in the middle of your palm, because that part needs to be concealed to cover the magic. So the next part goes over, and then the last part goes over. So all you have to do is grab the two on the end, and plus the middle one. And then when you stretch them, you're just kind of slowly stretching, and it looks like they're visually all becoming the same length. And it's a very visual magic effect. And I think that's one of the reasons it's so powerful. And then coupled with this very clever move, you pull up the center one, so that's one, and then you're grabbing the other two. You're kind of doing a switch, and I'll get into that in a minute here. And then you take the third one the same way. And if that's done smoothly with a lot of practice, you'll want to apply our practice system to this and get that down, you know, to where you're doing it 25 times in a row perfectly without any errors. So basically, that should look like this. So you're clipping this one between these two fingers, and you're leaving these two fingers open to grab it. So you're kind of trading this one for the other two, just like that. So you can play this back in slow motion by clicking on the little gear at the bottom of the YouTube channel there. When the screen's smaller, you'll see a little gear there. You click on that and it'll say playback speed or something like that. And you can select half speed, or it's really great for a lot of videos on YouTube where the guy's talking really slow. Maybe even my video, I don't know. But you could try it, yeah, because you can speed it up or you can slow it down depending on what your personal needs are. But anyway, so yeah, so you'll want to practice that. Mainly you want to practice it so it looks really smooth when you take this one, and then you take this one, and then you take the last one. So it looks like you've convincingly showed 3 separate lengths of rope. And then you're going to want to tie these together, but do so pretty loosely on this one. I actually tied that a little tight. So just tie a real loose knot there. And then you'll want to tie this one. It doesn't matter so much because you're really just tying that together like that, and it stays that way. So when I'm wrapping this around my hand, what happens is when I get to this part, this knot can slide. Yeah, if you tie it loosely, it slides really nice and easy. Then you just put everything in your hand here, and then you can have them say the magic word or do what you do in your particular routine. But then you reveal that the ropes are now back to the same condition they were when you started. So we have one medium rope, we have a huge rope, and a little tiny rope. And that's the other thing, you know, you want to use your voice inflections. You want to be varying your voice, slowing your voice down, putting in dramatic pauses, because variety is the spice of life. Facial expressions, variety. Your voice, variety. Everything about your show needs to be developing variety so you're not boring. That's the opposite of being boring. Because everything being somewhat the same, droning on at the same pace, is not a lot of fun for your audience. So be thinking about that when you structure your show, how you practice your lines, being aware of different facial expressions. We're going to get into that in a future episode. And really, how do you create a very entertaining show? Because magic is as much theater and acting as it is doing magic tricks. So that's part 1. Now I'm going to move on to how to repair the micro ITR as I promised. And we'll also have some special bonuses towards the end of this video. And it's my way of saying thank you for supporting our channel and watching the videos. And just being a part of this whole experience for me. It's been really great so far, and I appreciate all your great comments and the likes and the subscribes, and we're getting a lot of new subscriptions. And like I said, once that gets to 1,000, we're going to go live, and I get enough people. I've got, you know, I have a mailing list of about 2,000 different customers from our past, and we'll start promoting this channel to them as well. But I want to get it up to 1,000 people subscribed, and we'll go live, and we'll do once a week. I can take your questions right on the air, and we'll have, you know, it'll be just like we're all in a magic shop together and working on this together. It won't be so, you know, the time delay of you watching it now after I already made it. So that'll be a cool experience. I'm looking forward to that, but I need your help in getting new people to our channel and watching, and we can make that happen. Especially for you guys who don't have a magic shop in your town, I think this is a brilliant opportunity. You know, a lot of the bigger cities have those, so I'm making this for you guys, so it's like you have a magic shop no matter where you are in the world, is what my thought is in this whole thing. So I'm just going to go ahead and take this ITR apart, and we'll start from scratch. So basically, yeah, let's say that you need, most of you might be familiar with this, but the ITR is a levitation device. It makes doing close-up magic, close-up levitations, incredibly easy compared to the way it used to be. We used to be breaking thread all the time. And not only did it make it easier for magicians to perform, but it's also made it so the effect itself is more powerful in the mind of the audience, because you actually walk away from the floating object. And if you watch the last episode, you'll see a couple of the routines I did with the Boss ITR. Well, I've had one of our subscribers request this because he's having a little bit of trouble with his iMicro ITR. And so I wanted to show you guys how to take it apart, put it back together from scratch. So you want to make sure the tube is all clear. You can, you'll need some tools. You'll want to get just a little piece of wood and go to the hardware store and get just 4 finishing nails, pound those into a board, and you measure those so it's about, it should be maybe an inch or so longer than your reel on both sides, and the nails can be about maybe an inch apart as well. So that's pretty much setting it up. You'll want to locate the end of the thread and make a little tiny wax ball and put the end of the thread. I kind of roll it so it's almost like a needle. And then I kind of stick it sideways, but not too much, because you're going to want to be able to grab it with the tweezers without a lot of problems. So you can use a crochet needle for this, but I just kind of made one using a pair of needle nose pliers and a safety pin. I just kind of bent it, clipped it, and then I taped it onto this extending antenna thing I have. I just happened to have it laying around, so yeah, that worked out pretty well. And then, which is kind of nice because I can fold it up and put it in my repair kit here. I just took this old magic case I had and turned it into an ITR repair set. So you have you want to stretch this so it's around the 4 nails, and you've stuck the little tiny wax ball. Again, yeah, make that really small. You don't want it any thicker than the distance between the inside diameter of this tube and the outside diameter of the spool. So that way it can slide on there smoothly without the wax ball causing you a problem. Also, yeah, like I said, you know, make sure it's not, you want it just barely stuck on there so you can easily grab it with the tweezers. And you'll kind of track the direction it's going. So you'll thread your crochet needle through the tube, or if you make one like I made, you can use that. Then you just hook it on the rubber band, thread the tube on there, and you want to make it so that the hole is lining up with your wax ball. And mine came unstuck, so I'm going to just kind of re-stick it over there. There it goes. And then you can go ahead and hook this onto the nails. Now you may need to pull this a little bit in one direction or the other. Then reach in with your tweezers, grabbing your wax ball, which I got, and then you can immediately add more wax to it. And you'll want to wind in one direction, rotate your wax ball 90 degrees, and wind in the other direction so it forms an X pattern. And this will keep the thread from pulling out of the wax. Then you can stick the wax ball to your board or your case, and then you'll grab your 2 little rubber plugs that come with your reel. And when you're disassembling your reel, you're going to want to be careful when you pull the bands to pull those out. You're better off using like a toothpick or even your tweezers to kind of gently pry those out so they don't go flying across the room and you end up losing them like I have and a lot of other people. But you can always if you need to make new ones of these, I recommend you trace, if maybe you have an old close-up pad like this, you know, laying around, or a magic pad, or even a mouse pad would work, or just some hard foam rubber, or even just hard rubber would probably work. I'm sure you could find something at a hardware store. You can make a couple extras of these so you have them on hand. And we just use some kind of rubber matting here. But anyway, you stick one on each side. Make sure your wax ball is anchored firmly on the board so that when you're pulling it away towards yourself, it's actually putting tension on the reel. That'll kind of wind it up for you basically. And then you could go ahead and put your caps on both sides. Just put them on gently for now. You don't have to tighten everything up too much. And then you're going to get an idea of how far. Now you may end up with this problem where your reel's not retracting the wax ball all the way up. And you've got two options on how you repair that. One is you can just pull more thread from the reel and wind it into the wax ball. But if you end up with too much thread in your wax ball, you can pull it out, break off some of the thread, throw that away, and then wind it into your wax ball again. Obviously that's going to waste a little bit of your invisible thread, and for the convenience I find that's actually worth it, considering we put about 50 feet of thread on there, which is about 30 meters if you work in the metric system. The other method is, you know, kind of seeing what direction the thread, the spool is rotating. So it gives you an idea of which way the thread is winding onto the reel. So you want to kind of keep a track of that. So in my case, I need to wind it so it goes this way. So that means I need to be winding the tube in the opposite direction, I believe. Well, you can kind of keep track of it. If you're doing it the wrong way, the bands will get really loose. So you can kind of keep your eye on the bands. Okay, so that way is definitely making it looser, and this way is definitely making it tighter. And just so you can see what I'm doing, I'm actually grabbing the caps in both my hands, holding them stationary so they're not moving. Now the only thing I'm rotating is actually the tube itself. And as it's going around and around, well, we want to make sure again that it's tightening up the bands, which it is in my case. And just keep going until those bands are looking really tight. And your wax ball is firmly up to the hole. Now you don't need to over tighten it, but you want it so that it, you know, when you're done with the routine and maybe you unhook the wax ball, it goes back up to the reel. It's not dangling from your shirt and having people wondering why you have this floating wax ball dangling from you. So, but anyway, so let's take a look at it. Yeah, so there it is. Now when you pin this in your shirt, it's the same as the boss reel like we covered in the last episode. And if you'd like to order one of these, they're great for close-up, for stage, for stand-up. And you get about maybe 2-3 meters of distance out of this reel because it is longer. The longer the reel, the more distance we get out of it. But you want to pin this in your shirt so that, again, you know, you have the path of least resistance. And if it's a button-up shirt, you want to just run it out the flap, just pin it. I usually wear a t-shirt under my button-up shirt so I can pin the reel to that, and then I have the wax ball running out, and it works perfect. So that's the iMicro ITR. We have those on Amazon.com, and you can support us. Make sure you're getting a Sorcery Shop ITR. And by ordering from us directly through Amazon.com, you are assured of getting an original Sorcery Shop reel. And you know, out of China, you'll find a lot of the products are packaged identically, even though they're not the original. So I kind of want to stress that to get a sorcery original product, it is best that you order directly through Amazon, through our shop on Amazon.com. So yeah, happy to help you guys. So if you have any questions, be sure to post them below. I look forward to more ideas for our next episode, but I do have some surprises in store for you guys. And again, I mentioned, you know, if you shoot me an email at sorcerymfg@gmail.com, I'm going to send you out a free copy of my lecture notes, along with a few other free bonus things, and some links to some interesting material that I think would be of value to you. So yeah, just go ahead and shoot me off an email, and we'll just take it from there. So this is James George signing off from Sorcery Shop, and I appreciate again all your support and telling all your friends about our great magic channel. Thank you guys.